Hey, Alexia,
Hey, Foster.
can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Well, I don't have a great question. But I was thinking about, okay, this time in quarantine, what are some things that you are very happy about doing, things that have given you a lot of pleasure during the last 6 or 7 months?
Learning new stuff.
Yeah, I was thinking about all of the things you've learned, getting a new dog with Buddy, all of the things you've learned about plants. Yes. So the point of my question was, the best parts of your last 6 months during these crazy times in the world, you and I are separated. The things that give you pleasure are learning new things, learning about the world, improving your cultural and self-knowledge. And I think Cambly can do that for all of our listeners. How about that transition, Cambly?
Cambly, essa foi boa, hein? Sim, mas falando sério, gente, vão lá, testem a plataforma, façam a aula de graça que vocês não vão se arrepender. E não adianta, porque a única forma de melhorar seu inglês é falando, é se comunicando e é ultrapassando essa barreira que você provavelmente tem de vergonha e de travar, enfim. Então vá lá no cambly.com ou no aplicativo do Cambly e coloca nosso código em minutos grátis, que é Inglês no Cru Podcast. Dessa forma, você vai poder aproveitar tudo e mais um pouco que o Cambly te oferece.
Exactly. At first, it might be a little scary. Maybe the first conversation's not that fun, but learning is good, especially nowadays. It makes you feel good. So speak to native English speakers on Cambly, and let's get on with the show. Hello, hey, sweet people. Welcome to another episode of Inglês no Cru Rádio. As always, my name is still Foster. I'm still an English teacher. I'm still a podcaster, a human being in this crazy world in which we live. And I am here with
Alexia. Hello, everyone. And hello, Foster. How are you?
I am doing wonderfully, as usual. I miss you.
I miss you, amor.
Almost 7 months.
Oh, goodness. Goodness gracious.
Goodness gracious, great balls of fire. Do you know what that means?
Não. I laugh every time.
Ai, meu Deus.
Então.
É isso. Goodness gracious. So goodness from good. Gracious from being grateful, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then great balls of fire. Don't know why we say that last part.
It's like
Goodness
a dragon.
gracious, great balls of fire.
Yeah, a dragon came in. Like,
Yeah.
Everything.
My mom says that. My grandmother says it too.
It must be in the Bible.
I don't know if there are great balls of fire in the Bible or not, but that is not the topic for today. Today we are continuing our conversation about teachers, what makes a good teacher, and how you can use that to have better English classes.
Cool. So if
And
you
yesterday-
if you lost the last episodes, press stop right now here and go back and listen to the first 2 episodes of Good Teachers.
If you missed the
Yeah.
last episode,
Eu tô cansada.
it's okay. But when you talk about losing things, imagine like you're losing
Wait.
an item or weight. Yeah, something. But if you missed something, which is to say the time has already passed, I missed my flight. I missed the last episode. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does completely.
Perfect. Okay. In the last episode, Alexia, we talked about teachers and this idea of when do teachers correct students? When is the right time to correct? What is too much correction? What is not enough? And you ended by talking about one of your students specifically. And you said you have had this student for almost 2 years. You know him very well. He speaks Portuguese very well. But just recently, he started therapy. And now you are kind of diving into the world of therapy, and you are helping him improve his vocabulary and how to talk about all of that stuff.
Yes.
Is that a decent summary?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
So,
where to begin?
Well, I think that we can begin with the fact that a lot of people use their teachers in general as therapists.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I said we have two options here, Alexia. We can talk about scaffolding, which is essentially the idea that you were talking about with your student. So do you know what scaffolding is?
Yes and no.
Okay.
It's
not in a language context. Do you know what scaffolding is?
I think that I know. I don't know. Maybe it's like when you dig deep to find what you're gonna talk about with that person, like what needs to be done.
Not at all, but that was a great guess.
Não faço ideia.
So when someone is building something, like a new construction, and when you're walking on the street and there's construction happening, and they have different things that are helping build the construction, and sometimes you have to walk under them. It's just the different parts that they're like taking different things up. That's the scaffolding.
Okay, when you're building something. Okay.
Exactly. So the idea of scaffolding in language learning is essentially exactly what you're talking about. That you know where your student is, and you are just kind of adding a little bit more on top. You're making it a little bit more difficult, pushing them outside of their comfort zone a little bit, while keeping in mind their current base of knowledge and where they are now.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we can talk about scaffolding, or the idea that teachers and therapists have a lot in common.
Wow, it's connected.
Okay. So we have already rambled a lot in this episode. Let's talk about teachers as therapists.
Okay.
And tomorrow we will address scaffolding properly. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. So you brought up the idea of teachers as therapists. This idea resonates with me. But what do you mean by it?
Because people, they like to talk about their lives, right? And usually when you start a new relationship with a friend, a romantic one, either one, you are asking stuff like, how's your dad? How's your mom? Do you have a boyfriend, a girlfriend? Where do you live? What do you do for life with your what's your job, and etc. And then people can say, oh, take my example. Oh, my dad is fine. He's living with me. My mom passed away 5 years ago. And then my teacher, for example, will say, oh, I'm sorry for that. And then I'll say, oh, no problem at all. It was a disease. And then you start talking about your life and you explain this part of your life. It's very natural. But there is a point with this relationship, like teacher and student, that you know a lot from their lives, that even maybe not their best friends or their partners know as well how they're feeling about something.
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree with this.
Yeah, because we are a third person in a different place in the world that we don't know their relationships or nothing at all. And they feel extremely good talking to us about this.
Yeah. And I know this might seem strange to people listening that, oh, my English teacher also feels like a therapist. It seems disconnected, but if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. So if you imagine traditional talk therapy, what do? They call it talk therapy, right? Mm-hmm. You talk, you have conversations. What do you do when you're learning a new language?
You talk?
You talk. Exactly. You're just having conversations. What is one of the key factors in therapy? Confidentiality.
You have someone listening.
Okay, that's also a big part. They should be a good listener, but therapists, they are not talking with your family. They do not know your friends and family. You can tell them anything, and you know that they are not going to share that information.
Yeah.
Right? Most of the time, with an English teacher, with any language teacher, we already talked about this week that a good language teacher should really make you feel comfortable, you connect with them. So if you have worked with someone for some time, I'm assuming that you already have a good relationship. And most of the time, your language teacher, especially on the internet, they don't know your friends, your family. They probably live in a different country. You can tell them anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So thinking about those different things, the idea of conversation, the idea of kind of being anonymous and confidentiality, and the idea that you have a strong connection with this person, pretty much the same thing.
Yeah. It's pretty much the same thing because you guys, like the students, they need to remember that we are not mental health professionals.
No, we definitely are not.
Yes. So we are going to be able to talk about our experiences as well and how I would deal with a situation, but we are not professionals at all. So just a big warning there because it's important.
Yes, a big disclaimer, we are not doctors. But I think what you said earlier, that a good therapist and a good teacher really need to be good listeners as well. And when I'm in this situation where I'm working with a student and sometimes things get very personal very quickly, that is always my default is, okay, I'm going to listen. I'm going to try to show empathy, care, compassion, be a nice person. And even though I'm not a medical professional, normally that's enough to help the person with their life and their English.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I am a very good listener and I am a very good talker, that's for sure.
What?
What?
What? I was just kidding. That was a bad joke.
Okay.
We're talking about us being good listeners, and then I'm saying, what?
I am.
I know. I was just kidding. That joke did not land well.
No, it didn't. But that's fine. We are here
You
to
gotta
help
try.
you, Foster.
Comedy is just like English. You got to try, make mistakes, be embarrassed.
But, I mean, I think that's it. I think that if you find a nice teacher, you're going to be so happy, extremely happy with it. It's going to be the best time of your life. And you're going to be so happy to be... Yeah, but that's true. That's true. You're going to be happy to pay that person that is going to help you with your English, and you're going to be able to... Oh, my goodness. Can you hear that?
Goodness gracious. Great balls of fire.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're going to be just fine. Trust us.
Yes, I believe you. I know that this episode was very disorganized, but I think it has some really important points. Number one, if you go to therapy and you really enjoy your therapist, look for some of those same qualities when you are searching for an English teacher. Number two, if you are not going to therapy, but you have the resources, start going to therapy. It's going to be good for you. And number three, it's probably a good thing to keep in mind that your English teacher is not a medical professional, and it is a lot of pressure on English teachers. So if we say something stupid or insensitive, take it easy on us.
Yes, and what I did with my student, it was to convince him to start therapy, and he is extremely happy about it. So it's a win-win.
It's a win-win. That's a great place to leave it. Alexia, I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Bye! Muito obrigada por ter escutado mais um episódio aqui do Inglês de Necrorádio. É muito bom ter você juntinho assim de nós. Faz muito, muito carinho no nosso coração, digamos assim. Então você que está interessado em saber mais sobre os nossos produtos e saber mais sobre a gente, o que a gente oferece para vocês em relação a estudo, a challenge, a curso, vá lá no inglesdenecro.com e você pode ver mais sobre as worksheets, por exemplo.
Yeah. If you want to really improve your English, if you want to learn more about the ways you can do that and just connect with us on a deeper level, go to inglesdenecro.com. And as always, keep up the good fight.
And lose well.
See you guys tomorrow.
Bye.